So I never want to expose my elbows. I want to keep them close to my body here. Now he's sitting almost exactly on my hips, which is alright, but for me it gets worse when he crawls up here. And look what happens to my elbows as well. They're separating from my body. Yeah. So for him it's a good thing to move up towards my chest and bring my arms with me. For me it's the opposite, obviously. So if he's moving up right here, it's very hard for me to push him back. But what I can do is I can move up like this, and what I will do is I will put one arm across his hip right here, and the other arm will grab the first arm, and I bring my elbow inside of his knee. You can see already that he has to balance because he's starting to lose the balance, obviously, but it becomes unstable for him. I do, however, in this case, it's very important to keep your elbows close. And the frame is basically pushing his hips back towards my own hips. Yeah, so try and move up now. It's really hard. Yeah. Can you please get up? It's not like I'm not pushing, it is a frame. So it's just here in place. This is the first arm, this is the most important one, and the second one will reinforce the frame. You have to do a little bit of a demonstration. Can you do a push-up?
I can do one push-up.
Yes, all right, cool. Put your arms on my frame and do a push-up right here. Yeah, you can see the frame is still strong, right? Okay. If I do the other way around though, when I'm not fortifying the frame, but I'm doing basically the opposite, now do a push-up again, and now you can feel that it's much harder. Look, it's collapsing the frame, and I feel the pressure here. Yeah, so this frame, when it's done right, it keeps the weight off of my body and keeps his hips close to my hips, so low, not high. Okay, so one more time. So being here is not the best option. I'm going to move up and I'm going to put a frame on his hips. The second hand will fortify it, and I'm putting my elbow close to my body. Yeah, preferably between my body and his hip. Okay, so when you've done this, the top person can try and move it around a little bit, see if the frame is good. And if it's good, then you switch positions. Okay?
Okay.
Yes? That's basically going to be the first exercise. Any questions? Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3. So this frame, very important. Bring it across the hip, and yeah, so it's basically a frame. So we're not pushing really, we're just holding it in place, fortified. Okay, from here, cameraman should be on this side. Yes. No, don't worry about it. So when we're talking about frames, we have elbows, hands, knees, and feet, and this is basically like an elbow frame, so the worst frame you can have, but in this case the only one. So I'm going to upgrade the frames and get a better position. Okay, so how am I going to do this? I'm a little bit turned towards this side, towards my right side in this case, which means that I'm also stretching out my right leg, right here. From here, I'm going to push on his knee and try and bring his foot, this one, past my knee line here. I can use my elbow for this. When you're tall, this will be enough. People that are a bit smaller can also use their hands. Obviously, it's a little bit more risky. But remember, keep this frame right here. This is fortification. You can let it go, but the frame becomes weaker. All right. So when we're here, I'm going to catch his foot with my other foot and get it into this, what we call a quarter mount. Now I have caught his foot, I'm going to go towards his knee. There's already a little bit of space right here. You can try, of course, keep his knee on the floor, but I can use this leverage right here. So it's a small movement where I'm pushing down with this leg, and now there's some space here. And I'm going to go over, across his knee, over his knee. When I've caught the knee, the hip frame becomes less important. I'm going to switch towards a frame on the shoulders. Also means that I have to turn. So 1, 2, turn into him. If I have the space already here, I'm going to bring my knees inside, and now we are in the half guard, right? So push a little bit if you want. There you go. If you like to stand up from this position, you can. If you like to play a little bit more guard, it's also an option right here. Yep. Okay. So one more time. We've made our frame. It's fortified right now. I'm stretching out my right leg. If I don't stretch it out, if I'm here, I will never be able to catch this foot. So I need to stretch my leg out. Push with the elbow or with your hand, depending on what size you are. And make sure the foot comes across the knee line right here. Yes, this is my knee. This foot is across that, past that line. So from here, I'm going to catch this foot and basically hold it in place. The top leg will push down, making his knee light. From here, I'm pushing the knee in, and when I've caught his knee, I'm switching my hip frames towards the shoulders. So left arm is across the hip, I'm going right arm across the shoulders, switch my position, switch my hips as well, get my knees in front, maybe my feet even, or stand up. Okay? Marijn was not putting any pressure. You will notice that it obviously gets a little bit harder when somebody puts pressure. So you have to take your time and go step by step. Last one we can do when, for instance, we're not able to push the foot past our knees, or when you're having issues catching the foot. Some people may have experienced this, right? It's very hard. Sometimes it's very hard to catch the foot, and some people, they are very strong in their legs. They're really good at squeezing their knees together, which makes this escape really difficult. So then we have a second option. Instead of trying to push on the knee, what I'll do is I'll dig my elbow in a bit more, and from here I'm going to push my hip back. Yeah. Now I have some space between his legs where I can insert a knee. And when I've inserted my knee right here, I'm going to switch towards his shoulders, but this time using my hands, pushing him away from me, and then my foot that's on the inside will go to his hip. And this is actually what we call ashigarami, or straight footlock position. From here you can also use it to sweep, going for this position. Up and sweep. Yeah. Forget about the sweep, but the position is going to be very important. What we're doing here all the time is we're building frames. Yes. First we're on the elbows, and with this position we already have one foot on the hip, therefore making it very hard for him to put pressure onto me again. Okay. So I'm sure some of you guys experience this, right? That it's very hard to get the foot, you're pushing down, but nothing is really happening. Did you guys experience that? For some people this may have been easy, probably lucky, or you had a partner that was not super good at defending this. It's okay. So what I'll do now is the elbow that's here, I'm going to really dig it in, and I'm going to be a little bit more on my side. I have to watch out though for not passing my arm across all the way, then he might catch my back. So that's why I'm keeping the frame where it is. And from this position, I'm pushing my hips back, creating some space right here. You can see this time I had to do it twice. Sometimes you might even have to do it 3 times or 4 times. Just enough for the bottom knee to pass through. And when that's happened, my hands go from the hips to the shoulders. This time not framing with my elbow, but basically extending my arms, pushing him away, giving my other foot some space to go towards the hip right here. Yeah? Some people may recognize this as a straight foot lock. Other people may know it from the John Danaher DVDs and call it ashigurami. There's many names for this position. Okay? Going underneath the leg right here, you can actually set up all kinds of sweeps. Yeah? So the main difference here between basically pushing and using your frames is we're still gonna use frames. We're not gonna push the legs out, we're not strong enough. We're gonna dig in the frame and we're gonna push back our hips. But we're not pushing with our arms, just with our hips. There's enough space for the knee, put it through, and finally the foot comes over. Yes?